He realized it was Jungkook. His heart began to beat fast and everything shattered like a mirror. It was April 11.
What the hell, man? Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Peachy. I'm a full-time content creator, baby army, and lover of everything amazing, which of course includes your very cute face. And today we are doing something that has been so highly requested over the past couple months, but your girl just could not find the time because for some reason all of the BTS boys' birthdays, or at least a lot of them, are towards the end of the year, and it was just chaotic. But anyway, no excuses anymore. Today we are finally gonna learn about the history and the lore behind the Bangtan universe. Holy heck, I can't believe I'm even saying that out loud. Like, this has been such a long journey. Fake Love was the only song pretty much that I knew of BTS before starting my baby army journey, and I had no idea that it would open up this can of worms for me from finding up my bias and listening to all these BTS songs and finding out that I was low-key an army all along. But the Bangtan universe was so intriguing to me, and I know Fake Love played a huge part in that role, so that was the connection there. But there were so many things I did not understand. Is Taehyung actually evil? Was Sjin the only one that survived? Did all his friends die? There is so much to unpack here. I know that there's a manhwa, I believe there's a webtoon about the Bangtan universe, or essentially what the Bangtan universe was based off of. I know there's little Easter eggs in every single music video, but when I started getting into the Bangtan universe, I was a super junior baby army, okay? I still consider myself a baby army. Maybe 3 more album reactions under my belt and I won't, but I had no idea what the heck was going on. I was just so gagged. I was so confused by everything. So I'm excited to finally give past me some insight as to what the heck I was even looking at. And oh my gosh, I mean, now I'm doing my album reactions. I'm about to hop into the most beautiful moment in life part 2, and I feel like it's a good time for really me to dive into the explanation as I also listen to songs that I'm 90% sure had to do with the BU universe as well. So oh my gosh, there's a lot to learn, so I hope you get your notebooks out, your iPads, whatever you're gonna take notes on, because it's about to get educational up in here. Let's go. So this video is by socialsl, who we've actually seen the hardships video they made, and oh my gosh, they have such an amazing way of speaking, and I love socialsl. Also, I'm pretty sure that they were in I Am Still, right? In that one part where they're showing a bunch of montages of people reacting to BTS content. I'm 99% sure I saw Celeste. I was like, get it. That's so exciting. Anyway, go follow them because that's iconic. Let's go.
Welcome back to my channel and to an updated BTS storyline summary.
Wow.
Reminder that this is a fictional storyline created by Big Hit.
Do we need captions? Oh, we don't have English captions. Okay, we're gonna be captionless. It's okay. I'm sorry. I wish there were. I'm sorry. There's not, unless you want auto-generated. But every time I put auto-generated on, people wild out. So maybe now.
This video contains this is a fictional storyline created by Big Hit. This video contains information from BTS's music videos, films, highlight reels, concert VCRs, Save Me webtoon, BTS Universe Story game, notes, album, and the notes 1 and 2 books.
They had books?
Puzzle pieces everywhere. This is an
Wait, they had other books besides Beyond the Story? What the heck were those?
Updated version from my last BTS storyline summary back in 2019, but since then we've gotten a lot more information, so that's why I'm making this updated
I'm glad
version.
I chose this
Enjoy.
one.
We'll begin with the boys meeting in high school,
Oh
March 2, year 19. The boys were late for school and were sent to clean the storage classroom as punishment. Through this event, they became close friends and made the storage classroom their secret hideout.
Cute. Wait, that's so, do I have lipstick on my teeth? No, that's so true. In the Bangtan universe, they're all canonly the same age, right? That's so funny that we got Jin, who's basically freaking, I don't know how many years older than Jungkook he is. I think 5 or 6. It's just he's my classmate. That's so funny.
This event, they became close friends and made the storage classroom their secret hideout. They shared a lot of happy moments together, filled with laughter and joy. June 12, year 19. They decided to ditch school to find a rock by the sea that would grant wishes, but when they got there, the rock was no longer there. It was under construction for a seawall, but they still shouted out their dreams over the loud sounds of the drill. This was when they took their first Polaroid picture. As time went on, hardships in life began to tear them apart.
No.
Around May, year 20, Namjoon moved to the countryside with his brother, mother, and ill father.
Oh God, he's so hot.
He was about to write a letter to the boys, but instead, he fogged up the window in their hideout and wrote, "We must survive."
Damn.
Namjoon left without saying anything to the boys.
What?
Namjoon lived in poverty. His family has been struggling to pay for the father's hospital bills. He would work 2 to 3 part-time jobs in order to pay for the bill and to make a living. The boys looked up to Namjoon because of how responsible he was, but he felt pressured. They'd say how they wanted to be an adult like him, but little did they know how he felt. Taehyung looked up to Namjoon a lot. When he was young, his mother left him and his older sister behind. Both him and his sister grew up getting abused by their alcoholic father.
What the heck?
Since Taehyung doesn't open up about his feelings and hardships, the boys don't really know what he's going through.
Oh my God.
June 11, year 20. Seokjin was forced by the principal to reveal their hideout. The principal threatened to tell Seokjin's father about how he was a bad student. The dean walked into the
I don't know why it's funny to me that Jin is the one that snitches. And like, obviously when you're young, that's like the worst thing that could happen. The principal telling your dad that you're bad. Yeah, obviously you don't want that to happen at all. I don't even know, man. I had to laugh because of course Jin would be the snitch. Nah, he wouldn't.
his father about how he was a bad student.
Damn.
The dean walked into the hideout while Jungkook and Yoongi were playing the piano.
Not the
He came
rascals.
up and slapped Jungkook. Yoongi became defensive and ended up pushing the dean. Because of this, Yoongi got expelled from school.
No.
And Jungkook blamed himself for what happened.
What is this?
Seokjin lived
What is that? What is that? Because in the last music video or one of the last things you watch in the BU playlist, at least, it's like that style of art. It looks very animated. It's super freaking cool, but it looks like this. I don't know if this is like a video game that they made, but I'm trying to play it.
school, and Jungkook blamed himself for what happened. Seokjin lived in a wealthy family. When his mother passed away, his father sent him to the US to live with his grandmothers. His father was an assemblyman who was always strict and cold towards him. Seokjin just wanted to make his family proud of him. September 15, year 20. Hoseok and Jimin were at the bus stop when Jimin ended up having a seizure. He was brought to the hospital, and Hoseok tried to stay by his side, but Jimin's mother turned him away. When Hoseok was about 6 to 7 years old, his mother brought him to a carnival and gave him a chocolate bar. She told him to close his eyes and count to 10. When he opened his eyes, she was gone. She abandoned him, and he ended up living in an orphanage for 10 years. Through this,
What the hell, dog? That is so sad. That is so effing sad. And I feel like damn, how would you know that if you're not watching an explanation video? You know? Oh my God. So many things that people knew about this is crazy because I feel like you just would never know. But how do you guys find out where to find this information? I don't even remember this part. Wait, why do I feel like I kind of do remember this part? I don't know. It's all fuzzy.
him, and
That's
he
so
ended up
sad.
living in an orphanage for 10 years. Through
Jesus.
this event, Hoseok developed narcolepsy, or at least that's what he says. I have a theory that he has a disorder called Munchausen syndrome, which we see during his film For Mama. It's a mental disorder in which a person repeatedly and deliberately acts as if he or she has a physical or mental illness,
So he could be with
when
Jimin?
he or she is not really sick. In the Notes 1 book, for May 16, year 22, Hoseok admitted to Jimin that his narcolepsy was actually fake. September 28, year 20. Jimin is still in the hospital and has been there for 2 years now. Today was a special day for him. He lied for the first time and told the doctors that he didn't remember a thing. When Jimin was about 8 years old, an incident at the flowering arboretum scarred him for life. After a school picnic, he began to walk home alone since his parents didn't show up to pick him up.
I'm scared.
It began to rain. So he ran into a storage building of the flowering arboretum. That's where he saw a little kid laying on the ground tied up in a room. He had bruises on his arms and legs and scars on his wrist from being tied up for too long. He witnessed the kid trying to fight back by using a box cutter, but a man unarmed the boy and slammed the door shut.
Oh my god.
Jimin heard the boy's screams turn into wailing and gradually subsided.
What?
Jimin was able to escape without being caught, but ever since this incident, he began to have seizures, and his parents would keep bringing him to the hospital.
What did I sign up for? I knew it was going to be a little sad because in the Run music video, I think, no. I don't even know. I forget which one. Was it Run? Friggin' like Tay, you know, stabbed somebody up who's beating on his sister as he should, but like, what the hell? This is so much worse than I anticipated. I feel like I just signed up for depression, and I don't know. I don't have a therapist yet, but I'm probably gonna need one after this
incident. He began to have seizures, and his parents would keep bringing him to the hospital. He transferred to 5 different schools because of this. We find out that the kid's last name is Choi, and he was about 5 years old at that time.
Oh my god.
The little boy was discovered near Hwayong Mountain on April 10, and he suffered from temporary amnesia. The police were looking for clues to conduct an investigation of the case, but it seemed like nothing was solved.
He's alive?
This little kid is most likely the boy Seokjin tried to save on October 10, year 9. Men were trying to kidnap this kid for ransom because the father's company went bankrupt, but Seokjin helped him escape. He tried to hide this kid in his house, but Seokjin's father let the men into the house to take the kid away. Now here's the thing, Seokjin's event happened in year 9, and Jimin's event happened in year 11, so I'm not sure if that kid was really kept for that long or what happened in between, but just make note of that. September 30, year 20. Jungkook would go to their secret hideout every day in hopes of one day seeing them all gathered together again.
Aww.
In the end, they didn't. It was just Hoseok and Jungkook.
Okay, I'm stressed out right now, okay? Because this video is titled BTS Storyline Summary Explained. But I feel like it's already too far. Like, God, was I supposed to watch the 30-minute one before this one? The one that they put out in like 2019? Because like, I don't know. I just feel like it's happening too fast. They met and then they were already kicked out. Jin snitched on their little hideout. And now there's like all these little boys going missing. And I don't know. I'm sorry if I messed it up. If I need to, I'll go back and watch the other one. But like, we're committed. We're 6 minutes and 52 seconds in. Like, this is what commitment looks like. But I'm sorry if I fumbled it. I really am.
Jungkook relied on the boys a lot. His father left when he was 7, so he lived with his mother, stepfather, and stepbrother. He'd get abused by his stepbrother while his stepfather and mother watched and did nothing.
What the hell?
So his family were the boys, who were now falling apart. He was very close to Yoongi, and he'd always be listening to Yoongi play the piano at their secret hideout. Yoongi has always loved making music, but when he was 15 years old, his house caught on fire with his mother still inside. She passed away, and she was the reason why Yoongi started playing the piano. Him and his father don't have a good relationship, and it seemed as if his father didn't want him to continue making music. Theory: Yoongi's mom was the one who started the fire to commit suicide. She supposedly went insane and was also a pianist. Now the story goes on.
That makes sense.
Namjoon left for the countryside without telling anyone, but comes back after over a year. and lives in a container.
Oh, okay. Now we're back where I was. Oh, so they knew each other, split up, and then get back together. Okay, that's adding up. That's adding up.
But comes back after over a
like
year
there's lipstick
and
on my
lives
teeth.
in a container. Seokjin transferred to a school in Los Angeles without a word. Taehyung's whereabouts were always unknown. Yoongi never showed up after being expelled from school.
Really?
Jimin never came back to school after going to the hospital.
Oh my god.
Hoseok was now working a part-time job at a burger joint called 2-Star Burger,
So
and he would
cute.
sometimes see Jungkook in his school uniform.
Oh, that's
April
cute.
11, year 22. Seokjin finally came back to Korea after 2 years and 10 months. He drove to a gas station and spotted Namjoon working there.
No way.
He decided
That's like in the music video. He literally sees Namjoon working. Wow. Okay. It's all coming together. I wish that they were saying which music video. I want to say this one was in Run. I don't think the stab one was in Run. No, I think it was. I don't know, man. I'm struggling.
He drove to a gas station and spotted Namjoon working there. He decided not to say hi and ended up driving away.
What the
May
F, Jin?
22, year 22. Seokjin begins to wonder what the other boys were doing now. He decides to go back to the gas station to visit Namjoon, but when he gets there, he finds out Namjoon ended up going to jail. He got his phone number and went to visit
Bad
him.
boy.
Namjoon revealed that he got into jail after getting into a fight with a customer. Hoseok was in the hospital after a bad accident. They didn't know where Taehyung and Jimin were,
Ooh,
and
the stab
that
scene.
both Jungkook and Yoongi were dead.
What do you mean they're dead? What do you mean? What are they showing here? Why is he on the edge of a cliff and Yoongi's in fire again? What are you talking about? This is not in the music video. Nobody died. Oh my God, this is like sick. This is crazy. Who came up with this? Why they gotta, I get like, oh, let's give the characters a little bit of, sad backstory to really draw people in. But like, this is too much. This is too much. Oh my
Both
God.
Jungkook and Yoongi were dead. When Seokjin was heading out of the police office, he saw Taehyung outside of the entrance. He was tied up and convicted of murder. Seokjin went back to the beach they visited back in high school and asked himself, where did it all go wrong? Then a voice spoke to him. If you could turn back time,
The
do
Rock.
you believe you can straighten out the errors and mistakes and save everyone? He woke up and it was April 11 again.
Whoa, I just got chills everywhere. What the heck? I've seen an anime like this. Tokyo Revengers is kind of like this. And I mean, Tokyo Revengers came out in 2020. So I wonder if they got inspo, because that is so freaking cool. Damn, I got chills. I got chills.
He woke up and it was April 11 again. He thought it was all a dream and continued his day like nothing happened. He went to the gas station and saw Namjoon, then again decided not to say hi.
Okay, but why would he not say hi to Namjoon again, knowing that Namjoon goes the frick to jail later on? Jin, you have one job. Save your friends. Ugh. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, at the end of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I don't think he successfully saves his friends. Or in Fake Love, I don't think he succeeds at it. But we'll see.
He began to drive through an alley when a body landed on the hood of his car.
Jungkook.
He realized it was Jungkook. His heart began to beat fast and everything shattered like a mirror. It was April 11.
What the hell, man? That's why you say hi to Namjoon. Like you knew him in the past, you were friends. Just say hi and this could have been avoided. Even though I don't know how saying hi to Namjoon could have stopped Jungkook from jumping. This is so, like, I need to put a trigger warning on this heckin' video though, but damn. This is so dark. Maybe Jungkook would have seen them like dabbing each other up. Yo, what's up, homie? It's been a minute. How you doing? And then Jungkook would be like, wow, my friends don't hate each other. I'm not going to jump. That's crazy.
Everything shattered like a mirror. It was April 11 again.
He got a new
So
try.
he kept thinking everything was a dream, and so the same things would happen again. He went to the gas station and didn't say hi to Namjoon.
I'm annoyed.
And this time he's walking down the alley, and then Jungkook's body dropped behind him. Everything shattered, and a voice spoke to him once again.
Voice is annoyed.
You won't make it out here alone in this entangled destiny. Here's how you remember the loop. And as the voice spoke to him, he began to see fragments of the previous timelines. Then another voice spoke. If you could turn back time, do you believe you could straighten out the errors and mistakes and save everyone?
Come on, Jin.
That's when Seokjin finally realized that he's been going back in time. Okay, now things get super complicated during this journey. He begins to find out how each of the boys get in trouble and how they die, but every time he travels back in time, things would change. Because of the butterfly effect, location and time would sometimes change. Reminder that butterfly effect is a part of the chaos theory that states that one small change in a situation can drastically change the outcome of an event. At this point, we don't know how many times Seokjin had traveled back in time, but he began to realize that he has to learn more about the boys and their struggles in order to help them. He also realizes that he needs the boys to help him, but he does this indirectly. If you want all of the details, I do recommend you starting with the Save Me webtoon and then continue by playing the BTS Universe story game. I did create a...
There is a game just on the storyline. Damn. The devil works hard, but Big Hit works harder. Jesus, that's impressive.
Continue by playing the BTS Universe story game. I did create a summary for the game if you'd like to check that out. Link is in my description box. But I'll be going over each character's tragedies, which is shown during their Save Me webtoon, their reason, which is found in the BTS Universe story game, and the solution, which is found during the Notes 1 and 2 book. On April 11, year 22, Namjoon gets into a fight with a customer at the gas station. The customer would get his gas filled, then drop the cash on the ground for Namjoon to pick up. This would cause a fight, and Namjoon would end up in jail. Reason: money has always been a constant source of frustration and misery for Namjoon. He has been working 2 to 3 part-time jobs to pay for his ill father's hospital bills. Because of this, he lived in a container and would sometimes sleep at the gas station's break room. He had to put his love for books aside and hold off on purchases because of his budget. That's why he couldn't stomach kneeling down to pick up the money and being insulted over it. Solution: Seokjin lets the whole scene with the rude customer play out, but as soon as the customer drops some money for Namjoon to pick up, Seokjin comes in and grabs it, then hands it to the customer. This saved Namjoon from getting into a fight and going to jail. Later that night, April 11, year 22, Jungkook would purposely get into fights with thugs on the street, then make his way to the top of a construction building to jump off.
Oh my God!
The boys...
how did I forget about that? They do show that in the music video. How the frick do I forget about this? This is so insane. I feel like because it was so depressing, I must have just got off filming those videos and played Tetris to forget all of the trauma that I had gone through watching them. And now we really are here reliving it. Holy days. I do like that Jin finally figures it out. That's so cool that like in the game you solve these issues or find solutions for these tragedies. But like, what the heck? The fact that he had to live through it bare times until he realized that that's what he had to do is so depressing.
Top of a construction building to jump off.
Oh my gosh.
Reason: the boys were his family, and he was no longer in contact with them. He felt like his family didn't care about him and that no one cared about him.
No!
Solution: after Seokjin saved Namjoon at the gas station, Namjoon invited him to meet up with Taehyung and Hoseok after work. Seokjin asked about the others, and Namjoon said he didn't really talk to the others anymore, but he does think Hoseok still talked to Yoongi. Seokjin would encourage Namjoon to call Hoseok, and this would cause a domino effect.
Nice!
Namjoon would call Hoseok asking him to invite Yoongi, then Yoongi calls Jungkook before he decides to jump off the construction building.
Oh my gosh!
May 2, year
I got
22.
chills. Oh my gosh.
Yoongi burns himself in either a motel or his workroom. He also tries on April 29 and May 10 during different timelines because of the butterfly effect. Reason: Yoongi believed that bad things would happen to people he cared about.
Oh my
This
god.
caused him to distance himself from the boys, especially Jungkook. Solution: Seokjin realized the last time Yoongi genuinely smiled was when all 7 of the boys were together. He also realized that both Yoongi and Jungkook had the same tinge of desperation in their eyes. Jungkook was the key to saving Yoongi. So this time, instead of Seokjin doing it himself, he had Jungkook visit Yoongi at his workroom. This would cause Yoongi to run away and go into the motel. Jungkook would then try to run after him and follow him. Seokjin left a clue in front of the motel Yoongi was in so Jungkook could find him. And that's how Jungkook ends up saving Yoongi from the fire.
Oh my god, what the heck?
May 12, year 22. Jimin drowns himself in the bathtub at the hospital.
Oh, stop.
If he didn't take his life while he was in the surgical ward, he would make the same choice days after he returned to the closed ward. Reason: Jimin believes that he belongs in the hospital. This was his way of running away from the past incident he witnessed at the Flower Laboratorium. He didn't want to make things any more difficult for his mother than they already were, so that's why he took his life. Solution: Seokjin had tried to convince Jimin to leave and also had Taehyung try, but it didn't work. Hoseok is supposed to be the one who could convince Jimin to leave the hospital.
Just a side note, damn, whoever animated these boys into this game did such a fantastic job. Like, you could tell exactly which member is which. Look at Taehyung, look at Sjin, like Jimin, Hobby. This is crazy animation. It's so stunning.
Is supposed to be the one who could.
Sorry.
It didn't work. Hoseok is supposed to be the one who could convince Jimin to leave the hospital. May 10, year 22.
No.
Hoseok falls and hits his head while walking on a bridge. He ended up in the hospital for a checkup. May 12, year 22. Hoseok accidentally falls down the stairs at the hospital and breaks his ankle.
He's falling everywhere.
Reason: Hoseok gets a call from the children's home, which is his orphanage, in regards to Kim Jung-hee, the staff who was like a mother to him.
No.
She has colon cancer, and because it was in its late stage, surgery had a low chance of success. After finding out this news on May 10, he would collapse on the bridge. As for the accident at the hospital, Hoseok would notice a woman with a long skirt, hat pressed low, with a child. He thought it was his mother, so he followed her down the stairs and ended up falling. Solution: Seokjin figured out that Jimin was the solution to saving Hoseok. Hoseok actually ended up in the same hospital Jimin was at. And while Jimin was waiting for an elevator at the hospital, Seokjin called out his name and led him over to the staircase. Jimin saw Hoseok running down the stairs and was able to catch him before he fell.
Oh my god, what the heck? I remember that scene when he grabs him. No, you are not about to do this to me. The fact that I like that it's not just Jin saving everybody. They all play such a key role in saving each other, which is so BTS coded. Like, not one member keeps them all together. They all play their vital role. Oh God, I refuse. I refuse to cry.
Down the stairs and was able to catch him before he fell.
Oh.
After Hoseok was released from the hospital, he came back with the others. They all worked together to help Jimin and encouraged him to leave the hospital.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
May
wow.
20 years.
Was that the Save Me music video then? I feel like, no, because Save Me was the one when they were all in the outside place, right? Maybe that was the Run music video, because Save Me is, yeah, da-da-na-na-na, ba-ba-da-ba-da. That's this one. Then what the heck? It must have been the Run music video, right? Run, run, run. I don't know. It's all looking familiar, but I can't pinpoint which music video was which. But I feel like it was Run. Yeah, because Run is 7 minutes and 31 seconds long. It had to have been Run.
22. Him to leave the hospital.
I love that scene.
May 20, year 22. Taehyung would come home to his alcoholic father abusing his older sister. This caused him to grab a bottle, break it open, then stab his father to death.
I know that's right.
This led up to him going to jail. If he didn't end up in jail, he ended up jumping off the viewing platform by the ocean in front of the boys in a different timeline. Reason: Taehyung and his sister have been dealing with their alcoholic father for years, and Taehyung was fed up with the violence. As for him jumping off the platform, this happened during a timeline when they stopped him from murdering his father. He was frightened that he would become just like his father because of the recent incident. Solution: Seokjin had personally tried to stop Taehyung but ended up accidentally getting stabbed. So this time around, he had Hoseok give it a try.
So Jin this whole time will like watch, and then if it doesn't work out, he can still go back and just keep trying until he gets it right. Cause like this man got whole stabbed. So how are you gonna go back in time if you're dead? Like that's the only part that's not really lining up for me.
So this time around, he had Hoseok give it a try. Hoseok was able to catch Taehyung just in time and stopped him from stabbing his father. As for Taehyung jumping off the platform, Seokjin went up the platform instead. So here we are, May 22, year 22. Seokjin finally saved everyone. They were all gathered at the beach together once again. After the sunset, they went back to the place they were staying at and started dancing, laughing, and having fun. Seokjin thought this was a good time to finally confess to the boys. Taehyung thought he was going to tell everyone about what was really going on. A couple days before their beach trip, Taehyung asked Seokjin about the dreams he had been having. He has been having dreams of the past timelines. Seokjin said he didn't know anything, but Taehyung knew he was lying. So when Seokjin started confessing, and it was actually about the time he snitched on them during high school and how Yoongi got expelled, that made Taehyung angry because he thought Seokjin was just being a coward and not admitting to the dreams and stuff. Taehyung then shouts out, "What's so great about being together? Who are we to one another? We're all alone in the end." That's when Seokjin punched Taehyung and they broke out in a fight because, you know, his repeated attempts, his countless tries to save his friends.
He's tired.
He repeated so many moments of suffering for them. So, you know, he's asking, why are you doing this to me? After that event, they all went their separate ways and didn't contact each other much. Seokjin must have gone back again, but in another timeline, Seokjin leaves before all of this happens. Later that night, Jungkook got hit by a car. But not just any car. Jungkook believes it was Seokjin who hit him, but the odd thing is, Seokjin doesn't remember doing that at all. And we'll get to that in a little bit. This is when the highlight reels come in. So after they've gone their separate ways and they didn't really contact each other much, we're gonna touch base on each character. Hoseok was the first person who heard about Jungkook's accident. He was working at the burger joint when Jungkook's classmates came in and talked about the car accident. Hoseok and Jimin came to visit him after he was unconscious for 10 days. They were upset that Jungkook didn't contact them immediately. Jungkook ends up meeting a girl at the hospital who helped him stay positive during his recovery. Yoongi was making music again with the help of a girl who played the guitar. She was giving him free solo performances at schools and hospitals. Ever since he got addicted to his work again, he would lose sense of time. He didn't answer calls or checked his messages. He finally charged his phone, then it rang. It was a phone call from Jimin, telling him about Jungkook's car accident that happened the night they came back from the beach.
Ooh.
Yoongi made it to the hospital but couldn't bring himself to go in. He felt like it was his fault that Jungkook got hurt.
Oh my gosh.
Jungkook went outside with the girl he met at the hospital.
What the hell?
They were sitting on a bench while he began to sketch. Then he heard a familiar song. It was a song Yoongi would play during high school.
And the girl's
He
playing
looked
it.
over and it was the girl with the guitar. He got closer and noticed the lighter hanging on her guitar with the initials YK. It was Yoongi's initials. Taehyung is now all alone, but then he catches a girl stealing at a convenience store. They run into each other a couple more times and ended up basically becoming friends. They spent about a month together until one day, they were spraying graffiti at the bus stop Namjoon usually stops at. The cops began to chase them until they were cornered. Taehyung ended up surrendering, but after being released from jail, the girl was nowhere to be found. Jimin ends up going back home after they returned from the beach. After he ran away from the hospital, he has been living with Hoseok, but now it's time to go back home. His mother forced him to join an academy, and he was finally able to join Hoseok's dance class called Just Dance. During dance practice, Jimin and Hoseok's friend collided. Instead of him...
Wait, sorry. Is this before the song Just Dance came out, or was this after? Just Dance. I think Just Dance is on, it's not in the most beautiful moment of life, right? I thought it was in the trivia, something trivia, BTS, trivia, Seesaw? No, I don't even know. Oh, this is the Love Yourself album though. Love Yourself, Answer. So yeah, no, this is even later on. Serendipity, yeah. So all this happened before that then. Oh, I'm trying to make it all make sense. Also, I'm sorry I'm not like pausing and talking a lot. I feel like I'm like so into this. I'm just like sitting here watching like with my damn imaginary popcorn. I can't believe it. This is just insane. It's tying up so many loose ends and making like so many things make sense that I know I had so many questions about back then.
During dance practice, Jimin and Hoseok's friend collided. Instead of him reacting to the girl getting hurt, he ends up running into the bathroom to wash the blood off his arm in a panic. This reminded him of what he did at the Flower Laboratorium, where he would run away. As soon as he realized what happened, he ran after Hoseok and the girl with an umbrella to help out, but stopped and turned back.
No.
Hoseok carried the girl in the rain to the hospital. In the process, he hurts his ankle.
No.
They made it and the doctor told him she had a mild concussion. Hoseok discovers a plane ticket to the US in her backpack. He realized that she passed the overseas dance team audition. She became conscious and was ready to go home. When they got to the entrance, she was about to tell him about her going to the US, but instead, Hoseok avoided it and made an excuse to get an umbrella. He just didn't want to hear about her leaving.
Oh, okay, good.
Namjoon becomes interested in a girl he's been seeing every day for about a month. They would take the same bus to study in the same library before he'd go to work at night. He never spoke a word to her, though, but began to wonder what she does and what kind of things she's enduring. It's probably because she reminded him of himself. He finally got the courage to buy her a hair tie, but ended up leaving it on her backpack when she was asleep. Eventually, each of the boys begin to rediscover themselves and realize they want to become a better person. Taehyung no longer wanted to be the same and wanted to protect his sister and his father, his family. Hoseok decided to leave town and was gone for a while to heal his injured foot, since he couldn't dance. During that time, he helped out a performance group and even toured with them for a little. They asked him to officially join their group, but he realized he needed to go back home.
No.
He didn't want to run away anymore. He comes back to
Fair.
finally congratulate his friend for going overseas.
Oh.
Yoongi lost the guitar girl, but even though he gave up on his music countless of times, he'd always start music again.
Nice.
And he didn't want to run away from it anymore. Jimin continued to dance and would practice by himself every night. He wanted to commit to something and prove that he was good at it. Namjoon thought back to his high school years. Everything he had given up on, he wanted to start again. Jungkook was the only one who seemed to be off, especially after the car accident. He was trying to figure out what happened that night. Now, all of the boys planned on meeting up for the yearly fireworks on August 30, year 22. It was actually Hoseok's idea to get everyone together, and after he returned from taking a break, their group chat started buzzing again. Now there's Seokjin. In July, Seokjin saw a girl drop her diary while crossing the railroad tracks.
Leave it.
In that diary was her wish list of things to do. He ends up meeting up with her and doing everything she's been wanting.
What the
But
hell?
he never told her that he had her diary. One of the things on her wish
That's kind of shady, Jin. What the F? You gonna come out here, read some girl's personal information, her personal notes, and you're gonna act like, oh, let me fulfill all these dreams for her and make her think I'm the most perfect man that knows all of her needs. Meanwhile, you're just knowing it because you stole her intellectual property. And yes, I am projecting because I am jealous and I would love if he did that to me. That would be so sweet.
But he never told her that he had her diary. One of the things on her wish list was Smeraldo flowers.
I remember this part
Seokjin was able
confusing
to
me.
find a shop who could order those, but they wouldn't be able to get a hold of it until August 30. Seokjin was
fine.
thinking of confessing his love for
I knew it. I remember watching this and yeah, it's so confusing the way they edit it. Like, you don't know if it's Jin, but the last time you see him is literally him driving. He was the one that hit Jungkook with the car. That's crazy.
until August 30. Seokjin was thinking of confessing his love for her with the flowers while the fireworks bursted in the sky. But that didn't happen.
Oh, she
Seokjin
gets
was
hit by the
able to
car.
receive the bouquet of Smeraldo flowers
She gets
from the
hit.
delivery truck. He discovered there was no card in the bouquet and immediately called the owner. I'll make a U-turn now. The light
Oh my
just
God.
changed.
No.
Before the owner...
It was because of him not having a card in there. He calls the owner back and the owner of the flower shop hits his girl. This is all horrible. This is awful. This is like literally the definition of tragic.
I'll make a U-turn now. The light just changed. Before the owner finished his sentence, the girl came into view and began to walk towards him across the road.
I love her
Then,
shorts though.
Bam! She got hit by the truck. He travels back to save her,
insane.
which he thought was pretty easy to solve, but would encounter another tragic event with Namjoon on September 30, year 22.
Oh, with Namjoon.
Namjoon would end up passing away during a fire inside his container home.
Oh my God.
Seokjin couldn't figure out how to save him. Each time the loop began, the relationship between him and the girl deteriorated. They always did what her diary said, but each loop she grew more distant. She asked him for a breakup because Seokjin was becoming strange and that she didn't know him anymore.
Oof.
He then stopped getting involved with the girl. He ends up giving back her diary and apologizing. The diary acted as a starting and stopping point for them. He tried to become someone else by following everything that diary had, but realized that only being true to himself, he can continue to move forward. From this point on, I'm gonna be honest, you guys, it gets confusing even for me. A lot more time travels happened, but for this video, I'll try to make it easier to understand and simplify the timeline. Now, the fire at Namjoon's place was caused by goons who came to kick everyone out from the container neighborhood. There was a redevelopment plan established, and it would demolish the container neighborhood along with Hoseok's orphanage. Seokjin's father was actually part of this plan, along with his father's right-hand man named Uncle Junho. No matter what Seokjin did, he couldn't get past September 30, so he made a deal with the cat. He asked the cat how to save Namjoon, and the cat said, "Find the map of the soul, then you'll be able to end all of this. Instead, there will be a price." We find out later that the price was him losing his memories, and whenever he would try to remember, or if he was in a familiar place, he would get major headaches. Because of this, he was beginning to forget why he was doing all of this in the first place and was losing himself. So now he's on a search for the map of the soul. At first, he thought it was in the form of a book and started looking through libraries and bookstores. At one point, he asked Namjoon about it. And of course, Namjoon didn't know. Jimin also overheard Seokjin asking a doctor at the hospital about the map of the soul. Seokjin was actually there to get checkups for his major headaches. But of course, they couldn't figure out why he was getting those headaches. Jimin texted the group asking, "Do you know what the map of the soul is?" Namjoon mentioned that Seokjin also asked him the same thing a couple days ago. So now the rest of the boys decided to try and figure out what is going on with Seokjin.
Oh my gosh.
But they left Jungkook out of this group chat since he was still sick and he was in the hospital, and they just wanted him to get better.
No!
At the
never
same
leave
time,
somebody out.
Taehyung had also been trying to put the pieces together from his dreams. Remember that he's been having dreams of past timelines. At this point, I feel like he knows what's really going on. So he realized that Seokjin needed their help, but
what's with his evil ass music? So Tay-Tay's not actually evil in the storyline, is he? What? I know he has evil moments, but I don't know. The music is tripping me up. If he's actually evil, I'm gonna be pissed.
So he realized that Seokjin needed their help but wasn't asking for it. Now the boys began their search for this map of the soul. July 10, year 22. Taehyung told Namjoon about his dreams and that they were somehow linked to reality. One of the dreams was the fire incident at Namjoon's container. It then switched to Seokjin in the middle of a meeting room inside a tall building looking out the window. From his view, across the stream were apartment buildings in Myeonhyun City. He saw a billboard for canned coffee on a building rooftop, and behind it was a commercial building with a four-leaf clover logo displayed on the second floor. Seokjin phoned someone and said a word or two, then hung up. A moment later, lights turned off in every building.
What the hell?
Seokjin smiled. Now, Taehyung and Namjoon go searching for this location for days. During this time, there had been a typhoon as well. After so many days, they realized they couldn't find it because the billboard had not changed yet. So on July 18, the energy drink was replaced with the canned coffee billboard. They found the office of National Assemblyman Kim Chang-jun. It was Seokjin's father. They snuck into the conference room and Taehyung snatched the Seongju City redevelopment plan off a printer. They were able to make it out but got caught and were brought to the police station. Namjoon tried dumping the papers at the police station but later found out reporters had gotten a hold of the documents. It was then revealed on the news, and the documents caused panic amongst Hoseok's orphanage and revealed police overlooking the would-be violence during this redevelopment. July 22, year 22. Jimin remembered a man locked up in the ward at the hospital named Woo Hyun-sung. The man kept saying the map of the soul was wrecked. Yoongi and Jimin went to the hospital to see this man. When the man was asked about the map of the soul, his eyes shone with rage and he screamed convulsively. "Because of him, my soul was wrecked." Him! The man he was pointing to was Kim Chang-jun on TV, which was Seokjin's father. They were thinking there was no way Seokjin's father was somehow involved, but Jimin said the man mentioned something like Giho and that Giho was missing. Jimin mentioned that he heard Woo Hyun-sung was admitted when he was in high school. As Jimin and Yoongi were heading out from the hospital, Jimin's phone went off and it was Jungkook calling. Yoongi shook his head. We keep this between us, away from Jungkook. He has to focus on getting better. We can tell him when it's over.
Yoongi!
Little did they know, Jungkook actually saw them leaving the hospital, which is why he called Jimin. And Jimin lied to him by saying he was on his way home from Hagwon. Now, while all this is happening and the other boys are looking for the map of the soul, Jungkook had been going over the scenes of the car accident that night. Police had shown him the surveillance camera of the accident. He realized it was Seokjin's car. But Jungkook lied and said he doesn't remember anything. At one point, he even asked Hoseok about Seokjin, but Hoseok looked flustered. And this made Jungkook think that Hoseok knew something about Seokjin being involved in the car accident, but it was actually because they were trying to keep him out of the loop with the whole map of the soul so he can recover. So it wasn't because of them knowing about the car accident, you know? So over time, Jungkook began to believe the boys knew about this accident, but were hiding it.
This is why I hate miscommunication so much. Like, and people thinking like they know what's best for somebody when they don't. They're like, let's not tell Jungkook because he needs to heal up and all this. All while Jungkook is spiraling, being like, damn, all my friends know that Jin hit me with his truck and none of them care. They're all team Jin and I'm out here with a broken bones and a broken heart and nobody loves me. I'm gonna go hit up that building so I can jump off of it again. Like, no, just talk to your friends. This is so frustrating.
Them knowing with the whole map of the soul so he can recover. So it wasn't because of them knowing about the car accident, you know? So over time, Jungkook began to believe the boys knew about this accident, but were hiding it from him.
Oh my God.
Now that the city knew about the redevelopment, the plan for it sped up. Namjoon's boss at the gas station talked about one of Seokjin's father's high school friends who went missing and was never found. Jimin.
Wait, one of Jin's father's friends who went missing. The kid that Jimin saw getting tortured? Yo!
Who went missing.
What the F?
And was never found. Jimin found a blog uploaded 10 years ago titled The Missing Student from Songju Jail High School. Was Principal Jo Jin-myung involved? No comment was his answer. Taehyung also asked his uncle about Seokjin's father, since they were about the same age. He found out that Seokjin's father, Kim Chang-jun, went crazy when his friend went missing. One day, Chang-jun was found collapsed in the music room in the annex, and that was it. He stopped looking for his missing friend. Chang-jun completely changed after that and had no feelings. Taehyung asked, which one is the annex building? The uncle mentioned that back in the old day, they also used the small building on the left-hand side of the gate. The music room was inside the one-story building. This was the same room the boys made into their secret hideout.
Ooh.
Taehyung messaged his new findings in the group chat saying, and you know our classroom? It used to be a music room 30 years ago.
Damn.
And something must have happened to Seokjin's father in that room. Jimin told the group chat about the principal, Jo Jin-myung. He thinks he was involved in the case of the missing student and that he went to school the same time as Seokjin's father.
What the hell?
Namjoon went to the Songji City Library to find old newspapers. The missing student's name was Choi Gyu-ho. The article had an interview with his mother. It said that he left home saying he was going to see a friend. She asked him which friend and why so late, and he said he had to see his friend at school. He definitely looked scared and she didn't know why she didn't stop him. Below the article was the missing student's picture, name, and description of what he was wearing. He was a senior in Songju J-il High School. They began searching the classroom and Jimin pointed on the scribbles. Among so many scribbles were several names. They read Kim Chang-jun. Jimin pointed to another name, Woo Hyun-sung, the guy at the psychiatric ward. I can't recognize the other names. Yoongi pointed to another name, Choi Gyu-ho, the guy who went missing, right? Namjoon read a sentence below the names. Everything started from here. So Kim Chang-jun is Seokjin's father, Woo Hyun-sung is the guy at the psychiatric ward, Choi Gyu-ho is the friend that went missing. Now, they didn't mention or point out the name Jo Jin-myung, who was a principal, but they mentioned that he also went to the same school and that he might have been involved in the case because of the past article. So I don't know if the principal used to be part of that friends thing who also went to the music room, but something happened and he was probably involved. July 24, year 22. 2 weeks ago, they decided to throw Jungkook a party to celebrate him being discharged from the hospital.
Jungkook's pissed.
But they completely forgot about it. So many things have happened since then.
Oh no.
And they all ended up showing up late. Hoseok was the last to make it since he had been protesting and fighting in front of the city hall in order to stop the redevelopment. As soon as he arrived to the party, he went straight for Seokjin and asked him to take Youngji Children's Home out of the redevelopment plan. Seokjin listened without moving a muscle and said, "It's grown-up business." Seokjin scowled and rubbed his temples. He pushed his hand against the wall and stood up. So from the scene, you know he's getting his major headache again. Then he says, "Until when do I have to look after you guys? Can you please learn to do things by yourself?"
Damn.
And Seokjin banged open the door and left.
Boy.
Jungkook watched Seokjin get into his truck and back away. He saw the scratch on his bumper and strangely didn't feel anything. Everything became abundantly clear.
No.
So at this point, Seokjin is so frustrated, he's fed up, he's lost himself, he doesn't remember why he's even doing all of this in the first place. Seokjin thought that it was a waste of time to attend Jungkook's party instead of going to another redevelopment meeting. He went there in the first place thinking that they were going to talk about the map of the soul, but instead, Hoseok begged him to save the orphanage. We know that Seokjin is going through it and he's no longer himself. At this point, he was no longer trying to save the boys for their sake. He just wanted to find the map of the soul to end the constant loop and basically save himself. But we know he was going through it, so you can't blame Seokjin. August 2, year 22. Seokjin came back to a note on his desk saying, "A draft of your father's memoir. You're in it too, so some feedback would be appreciated." The note was from Uncle Junho, which was his father's right-hand man. It was his first time being asked to read it in this loop. It might have been a butterfly effect from having gone to Jungkook's party instead of the meeting. The wind from the window ended up blowing the papers on the floor. As he began to pick it up, his eyes landed on something interesting. 10 pages were missing, and he flipped to the table of contents, and there he saw the map of the soul. Although he was disappointed because the chapter that was titled Map of the Soul had nothing in it about what the title meant. But he saw the passage. "When I thought about my high school days, I realized the map I've been looking for wasn't a real map with roads or dead ends, directions, and scales. It was just another name for the life I have lived, the countless hours I have lived since then, and the choices I have made. It'd be the trajectory of all my failures, success, mistakes, and blunders. But I failed to find the map. In retrospect, I realized that I landed on the right path because of my failures." Seokjin then remembered what Taehyung had told him. You have lost your memories.
Oh, snap.
Seokjin ran back into his room and pulled out a box from under the desk and found a couple of photo books and envelopes with Polaroid pictures. He began to look through the pictures and asked himself, did this really happen? When he tried to remember, the headache came back. He stood up and looked at the pile of pictures and gritted his teeth and tried to focus. Fighting against the pain, he tried to remember. Only when he was able to overcome the pain, he will be able to find the trajectory of his life and arrive at the map of the soul. Seokjin texted Taehyung the pictures and asked, did this really happen? Taehyung then texted the group asking, where is everyone? He wanted to gather everyone to help Seokjin remember. August 3, year 22. They brought Seokjin to the storage classroom to help bring back his memories, but he struggled with headaches. Out of frustration and just hurting from this headache, he tried to leave, but Taehyung stopped him.
Damn.
They broke out into a fight and knocked over a wall, revealing a cabinet.
Ooh, his
Inside
memories.
the cabinet was a diary. This diary belonged to Seokjin's father.
Ooh.
According to the diary, his father had gone through what was happening to him. Like him, he made mistakes and blundered, and he tried to undo them over and over again, but he failed. The diary was a record of his failures. After making the deal to save his friends, he was in a time loop. He tried to find the map of the soul, but failed and gave up. He forgot about it and went into denial and betrayed his friends. Seokjin looked up at the wall and remembered seeing his father's name around there, and below it said everything started from here. Perhaps it was inevitable that they'd return to this place. Seokjin came back home and the pictures were still strewn on the floor. He still had a throbbing headache, but he knew that pain was the evidence that he was trying to remember what was important to him. Suddenly, people in the pictures seemed to be moving. All of the moments in the pictures were lifted up in the air and were replaying like videos. The whole room shone bright with whirling memories that were sad, wistful, heartbreaking, and joyous. He then realized something was exuding light from his pocket. He took it out. It was a Polaroid picture with clear, crumpled lines. He remembered the moment they took the picture. This was the first look ever for the six of them to be in the picture without him. Before then, he would use a timer. He looked down at the picture in his hand and the scene started to change slowly. There was Seokjin, standing next to his friends in front of the car by the beach. He suddenly remembered the cat and the contract they made. There will be a price to pay. He realized what kind of horrible contract he signed up for. Do you think he could straighten out the errors and mistakes and save all of you? He was finally able to answer the question. The question itself was wrong. He didn't have to save them. He didn't have to straighten out all of the errors and mistakes either. What he had to do was accept all of his errors and mistakes as part of him. The one and only person he couldn't save was himself, and he had to forgive, accept, and love himself. That was the only answer. He then realized all the pain had come to an end. August 7, year 22. Seokjin went into the den and gave his father the diary. His father took the diary and flipped through the pages. Instantly, his face became distorted. A look of pain was on his face now. Seokjin asked his father about the redevelopment plan and to think about it one more time. His father said, "No, it has nothing to do with me now." August 10, year 22. Seokjin had gone through the documents found in the safe inside the inner room. Papers guaranteeing kickbacks from the construction company, slush funds, shabby construction, and profiteering, contract ad libitum, dual contracts, and also papers fabricated to conceal all these illegal dealings.
What video
His
is
father
this?
had gotten to a place of no return. Seokjin took out his phone and called the reporter who had disclosed the first document concerning the redevelopment plan. Now he had to do what he had to do. Seokjin texted the boys to meet at Namjoon's container. August 11, year 22. They all arrived at the container and sat around the sofa. Seokjin started telling them about what happened back in high school. Seokjin apologized to Yoongi for getting him expelled. Then he began to tell everyone the whole story. Finding out the future misfortunes of everyone after he came back from America, the cat that he met at the beach, the contract to turn back time, and the things he had experienced over and over again since then. The map of the soul, the price to pay, losing his memories. They had no idea whether the sandstorm began while Seokjin was talking or not. As Seokjin continued with the story, the wind became stronger. Everyone ended up closing their eyes, shedding tears from the prickly rain of sand. They couldn't see with their eyes, but they could feel it. As if they experienced it themselves, something flashing as time began to go back, the sound of a window being shattered. In the sandstorm, they finally understood what happened to Seokjin. No one spoke. The sandstorm disappeared without a trace, and the moon hung in the night sky. Soon after Seokjin started telling them his story, all the others looked as if they totally understood what he was saying, except for Jungkook. He thought Seokjin was going to mention the car accident, but didn't. I mean, it remains a mystery until now. Jungkook believes Seokjin was the one who hit him, but Seokjin doesn't remember any of this. During the night of the accident, Seokjin had a major headache and had closed his eyes while he was driving. He then opened his eyes to a loud honking noise and saw headlights in front of him. As a reflex, he turned the wheel and skid against the asphalt. He stepped on the brake and the car crashed into the opposite guardrail and finally stopped. He opened the door and stepped out. The road was empty of cars. The car that was flashing its light was also gone. So we don't know the full story yet. Jungkook believes Seokjin is the one who hit him. But on Seokjin's side, he was probably going crazy. He thought he saw a car, but there was no car. Maybe the dent in front of his truck that Jungkook saw was actually a mark from the guardrail he hit and not him hitting a person. But when Jungkook saw the surveillance camera, he saw Seokjin's car. So I don't know, there's something missing, there's something else going on with that, but we'll eventually find out. August 20, year 22. They put a stop to the redevelopment plan and arrested the people involved in the corruption. His father was not an exception. Uncle Junho, which was the right-hand man, had disappeared right after news of his involvement went out. August 22, year 22. A drunk man harassed Namjoon when he came home from work. "Everything is ruined because of you," he said. "You talked Seokjin into this, didn't you? You ruined everything." The drunk man kept babbling about things, but Namjoon couldn't understand. August 25, year 22. Seokjin went to Namjoon's container home and found Uncle Junho with a gasoline canister at his feet. A fire erupted from the container. Not long after, Namjoon arrived and ran towards the burning container. He jumped over the flames and threw himself against the container door. The little kid, Woo Chang, was still inside. He had been taking care of this kid for a couple of months now, and so this kid was stuck inside a burning container. Just when they were about to escape through the door, construction materials ended up falling and blocking their way out. Namjoon turned and saw Seokjin through the window. They were able to pull open the window to rescue the kid and Namjoon.
Oh my gosh.
August 30, year 22. The boys were finally gathered once again for the annual firework festival. They watched the fireworks light up the sky and fall limply down back to the stream. Everyone seemed to be enjoying the show except for Jungkook, who was looking down at his phone and playing a shooting game.
Wow.
"Jungkook, come and see me at the workroom after school. Let's talk," Yoongi said. "If I get time," Jungkook spat out in response and started a new game. So at this point, Jungkook is just out of it. He feels like the boys are lying to him. He is so sure that Seokjin is lying to him as well, and it was the one who hit him with the truck. So it's not looking good. There's this like burning, growing rage and anger inside of him that will be an issue. September 27, year 22. At today's court first hearing, Seokjin's father admitted to all charges and gave up his right to defend himself.
Oh, wow.
As he was walking out of the courtroom, he turned and looked at Seokjin. He looked peaceful and calm, a look that Seokjin had never seen before. And for a fleeting moment, there was a sense of lightheartedness in his expression. Seokjin was seeing that expression for the first time, but he knew that was his father's true face.
Aww.
He came home and ran to the inner room. His father's diary from high school was on the desk. He had written, "I found the map of the soul. Everything ends here and now." That was basically the end of the Notes 2 book. We did get an odd entry, but with no date. This was the last entry in the Notes book. The odd thing about this is that it's when Jungkook got into a car accident, which is supposed to be on May 22, year 22, and it's almost like the same entry, but this time the dates is all X's, and yeah. Now, during the time of the accident, Jungkook heard a voice say, "Living is going to be more painful than death, but do you still want to live?" It was the cat with blue and green eyes, the same cat that made the deal with Seokjin, but unlike the first note that we got with a date, this one mentioned that Jungkook remembered hearing this from somewhere.
True.
So this wasn't the first time, and this has happened more than once. But that's all we've gotten so far, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this updated BTS storyline summary video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to click the like button and also join the Fleur Squad by subscribing, you guys. Thank you so much for watching.
That did what? Oh, snap.
Storyline summary.
That went by so fast. I'm still so confused. Wait, we're gonna end abruptly like that? Holy. Huh? Okay, so Jin's father ends up getting closure after Jin gives him his notebook. I'm sure that Jin's father like went back, read through it, knew where the map of the soul was, and that was like his redemption arc. He's like, okay, the map of the soul is within me. Like Jin, he had to accept all of his faults and all of the terrible things that he's done to be able to like break out of this like horrendous loop that he's been in. So that's why he admitted to being, you know, to all of the corruption that he did. And that's all fine and dandy. But like there's like a lot of loose ends though. Cause Jungkook still doesn't know if Jin hit him with his car. I gotta be so real. I feel like he didn't. I feel like Jin did not hit him with his car. The only thing he has going for him is that truck. And I think he's gonna find out, okay, it actually was not Jin. But wait, what was the point of the girls? Like Yoongi had a girlfriend, she played guitar. I don't really understand the point of her being there. The girl that Jin had, that would make sense. Like every time he went back, he was more and more stressed. So she kind of like was like, this man's crazy. I gotta heck and go. But damn, you know what? Period, I guess. That was crazy. That was crazy as hell. Jimin's story, I feel like deserved a little more time because I don't really understand Jimin's story. And I thought Hobie went and put himself in the mental institution, or I don't know what it's called now, like the hospital, to go be with Jimin because he wasn't allowed to go see him. So I thought he just put himself in the hospital to go be with Jimin. He did it. And then he just didn't see Jimin for a really long time. Like, geez. So this whole story, because I remember at the beginning of the BU universe or the B universe, they're like in the pool, Jin is filming them. So that's all before this. That shows them all before this. And then this kind of explains the music videos we saw. Dude, what? This lore runs so deep. But that's it. They haven't added anything else to the 2020 update or like to the Bangtan storyline, because also that other music video, was it for Let Go? It was one of their Japanese songs. I believe it was for Let Go. Jin is standing there with a bunch of doors in front of him. He's like making eye contact with Taehyung. Is that part of it too? My God, my brain hurts, but that was mad interesting though. And it did clear up a lot of things I was confused about. So At least that's good. But now I want to rewatch all the music videos and like try to make it make even more sense. My mind is racing right now. I still have so many questions, but honestly, shout out to socialsl for putting that video together and explaining everything so beautifully. I also just think like Celeste has such a nice voice to listen to. Like they really let you in and make you want to keep like understanding everything. Oh my days. I definitely needed a structured environment to like finally sit down and learn about the BU, and this is it. This was it. Like look at that. That took years. I think the Bangtan universe stuff happened it started happening in like 2017 is when they started the storyline. Correct me if I'm wrong. And like this is the 2020 update. Can you imagine the amount of thought, time, and energy and effort that went into creating such a like diligent and meticulous storyline? That is wild. And shout out to the BTS boys once again for acting all of that out, because I'm sure like even acting out their friendship in some parallel universe, like turning out like that, where some of them are not making it and some of them are losing themselves trying to save everybody, that must have been slightly traumatic too. But I did see a comment on this video saying 2025/2026 comeback is the last part of Love Yourself. Is that right? Of Love Yourself. So I don't know how accurate that is, but I really hope so. I really hope they just come back and like throw themselves back into the Bangtan universe, because I need to know. I need to know how it ends. I need to know all of the loose ends. And I just need to know if they all have a happy ending, because it seems the way they ended it, like nobody's happy. Everybody's stressed. Everybody's confused. Jungkook is so convinced that all of his friends hate him, even though he's the one that considers them the most like his family. Like the man literally jumps off a cliff because he feels like he's not, you know, close with them anymore. And Jin fully just loses himself and starts going crazy, even though he's given so much of himself to go and save everybody. There's just so much going on, but that is a beautiful storyline. Again, I'm sorry that I was like so locked in. I feel like there weren't a lot of moments for me to be like, ha, you know, like stop and yap and do our usual funny business. But that's why balance is key. We watch stuff, we get educated, and then the next video, it'll be a BTS farting compilation or something, okay? We'll see. But holy moly, thank you for letting me know and convincing me to watch this for so long. I'm gonna be up all night. I low-key feel like I'm gonna start looking up like theories now that I have it explained. This opens up a whole new ball game, Mr. Worldwide. This opens up a whole new ball game for me to be able to like look into it myself, because I really didn't want it to be spoiled for myself. But now we got a lot to go off. So thank you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Friends, if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a comment, like, and subscribe so we can keep hanging out every single day. I post videos every day on YouTube and every day on Patreon, plus bonus content over there and early access. So check that out in the description box, where you can also find my P.O. box that I have now extended for 9 months. So if you ever wanted to send me anything, she is right there, and that's your business and my business if you want me to know about it. But really, just take care of yourselves, friends. Take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Mwah.